Hey everybody, welcome to Cheers to Business. This episode is part 2 of our Power of Digital Marketing episode with Mr.X, the mysterious digital marketing expert from episode 55. If you haven't heard that show, check out episode 55 to hear part 1 at cheerstobusiness.com or anywhere else you listen to our show. I wanted to share the rest of this interview because I think it's pretty important to be knowledgeable about using Facebook advertising for your business. We all want to increase sales and boost our bottom line, and Mr. X gives us some very specific and real-world marketing tactics on setting up a website that sells, builds up a sales funnel, and gets the most bang for your marketing dollars. I'm Karen. I'm a CPA, entrepreneur with big ideas, and I'm the mom.
I'm Cadie. I'm a payroll specialist, business owner, and detail-oriented person that makes things happen, and I'm the daughter. Welcome to Cheers to Business.
There's 3 main pieces of digital marketing. There's content marketing, there's SEO, and there's paid media. These are all tied together, by the way. So a branding campaign is about getting awareness out. Digital marketing right now is converting a customer. So it's all about conversion, not necessarily about brand awareness. So it's the difference between somebody knowing what you do and somebody buying what you do. And so because of the size of the web, paid advertising, in my humble but correct opinion, is that it is the most valuable asset that a business owner can have today. It's turning paid advertising into profits. That is the most profitable skill any business owner or digital marketer can have today. Focus in on conversion, not on branding. Figure out who your core buyer is, and then go to Facebook and put those interests in, and all of your ads will convert more.
Okay.
Because instead of spending $30 just to spread your name, now you're spending $30 to reach people who are actually interested in what you offer and need what you offer. And so as you explain your services, they have the money and the need to give it to you.
This digital marketing talk, if people know your brand, does that not have a huge force and momentum on what you're doing?
Yes, it absolutely does. And having a strong brand and brand awareness, it creates a feedback loop. And so what ends up happening is that when someone sees your ad and they're already aware of you, well, you've already solved the know, like, and trust issue. So you don't have to sell as hard and convince them as hard because they already have heard of your brand. So this works great with recurring purchases. A real estate agent, a big company who has something that's recurring. Once you get your brand name out there, whenever someone needs to sell their house, you don't have to convince them that your company's good because you've already done brand awareness. Yeah, and so it creates this big feedback loop. So when you do focus on conversion, it's a lot easier to get those guys in to give you money.
What's the next step for people? I mean, I can't tell them your name, so I can't tell them how to find you. What does somebody do?
You want to read about Facebook paid advertising. You want to download the Business Manager, which you have to have the Chrome browser to do. You want to start with Facebook. They have tutorials on their paid advertising, and so I would start there.
What kind of money are we really talking about for somebody to hire somebody to do all of this for them?
It depends on the size. So My deal structures are a flat fee plus compensation. I wasn't always paid this way, but after people started making all this money and I didn't, I get a percentage of sales now. And there's a couple of different ways to do that. However, what I suggest for people who aren't making enough money to work out that arrangement, to learn enough about it yourself, or get your secretary or someone to go spend some time and dig into it. And I promise you, especially for a local company who's only getting business within 100, 200 miles, you can get a lot of traction just having a secretary or an assistant or whoever learn about it.
How about an intern, a marketing intern from South or Spring Hill or one of the colleges?
Oh, that's perfect. In fact, the trade-off is that you would be setting them up for a lifetime of success because if they knew how to do that, they could write their own salary. They could write their own paycheck. It's that powerful.
Wow.
And it's not changing because you could just take what you learned from Facebook and move over to Google.
Right. So what do you see coming down the road? Because everything we've said has been an evolution. So what's evolving next, in your opinion?
The funnel. So what's going to end up happening is that instead of a one-stop purchase, impulse buys are very rare today. All of you listening, Karen, you know this, that it's super rare for someone just to come in and say, I need this thing now.
Yes.
Right? It's repeated exposures. Typically, an impulse buy falls into a couple of different categories. One is somebody just being reckless. So think of somebody that just won the lottery and they go out and buy the Lamborghini, right? An impulse buy is that I'm hungry and I need a Snickers bar and I'm at the checkout lane. Another one is an emergency. My toilet's overflowing and I don't feel like my house being destroyed, so I need a plumber. And I don't care that there's 15 plumbers showing up in Google. Whichever one answers the phone is coming to my house.
And I don't care how much they charge.
Exactly. So impulse buys are pretty rare, and it takes repeated exposure. So that what's going to happen now is the evolution's going to change, and a paid ad is going to take your customer to your website, and from there, you're going to have repeated exposures. And that's called a funnel. Okay. So when the first time that they hit the website, that's going to be the first step. But you may have to hit them up and get their email address. And after you get their email, you may have to send them a couple of emails. You may have to do other advertising to them after that.
MailChimp?
MailChimp is one service provider. There's a ton. I use Aweber. I've used Infusionsoft. There's a handful of others that are out there. MailChimp is a great one for automation.
Okay.
And so you could send out several emails. But then you could also do targeted advertising. You just hit the people who have been to your website. Think about that.
Yeah.
So there's 200,000 people in the area in Mobile that you're targeting. Well, let's say 1,000 of them go to your website. That means they have literally raised their hand and said, I'm interested in Payroll Vault. Well, now just do what you just did to those 200,000. Send an advertisement just to those 1,000 people.
All right. So here's what's been happening. Payroll Vault loves dentist offices.
Okay.
We love dental offices. And we love all our clients. We really, really do. But we really love dental offices.
Right.
So I've been getting information on different dental offices and inputting into a CRM system, client retention management. So I've been inputting, and then so therefore our friend Connect I can do a email campaign.
Right.
Is there an easier way? It's so time, but I could data mine for the same information.
Yeah. So is there a certain geographic limitation, or is it all dentists anywhere, or is it within a certain
Gulf Coast, Mobile, Baldwin County?
Okay. So inside Facebook, on the back end of Facebook, you can target. Are these mostly men?
Not by our design, but I think.
What about the demo in general?
I think there's more and more women, but historically it's been men.
Okay, so my guidance is going to say stick with men just until you can get the details worked out. So start with men, pick an age range. I'm going to guess, when do they get out of dental school? 25, 26?
Yeah.
I wouldn't move their age up to 32.
Right.
Just because when you first get out of dental school, you don't think you need marketing. You don't want advertising. You think that you're going to open up a shop and you're dealing with so much other stuff. You don't really realize that you need marketing yet. So move that up. So let's call it 30. Okay. So 32. When does somebody get tired of being a dentist? 50?
55.
So, so those are the age ranges.
When do they get tired of being a CPA? 53.
So now you've got, look at what we've already done. We've already cut your audience down to males between 30 and 50. Now, title, dentist.
But they go by doctor.
Then you can do doctor, and you can do an interest in dentistry.
I feel like this light bulb
and
is
then
going off.
You can say, only show my ads to the geographic area of Mobile, Alabama, plus 30 miles.
I'm so in awe of you. Can I buy you a beer later?
So that $30, it's going to be more than $30. But so that's $50 or $100 or whatever it is, will now still be pushed out into Facebook, but you're targeting all of those people that we just said. Now, you're not going to get all of them. Now, it's going to be concentrated specifically on that demographic that you're after.
I don't necessarily am wrapping my head all the way around how that works. And I do think that's another show. But don't you think that once we're pushing this stuff out and you're getting people to circle back and loop and funnel and all that kind of stuff, that they're coming back and boomeranging on you, then you better have your crap together to be able to have the force to sustain what you've been advertising. What's your advice on that?
So that's a good point. So you've got paid advertising, you're focused on conversion, and once they get to the website, that goes back to the funnel issue that we talked about before, and that is a series of sales steps. That is way too much for this particular podcast. Maybe we can come back and do something else because it's very, very important.
I love it.
And it is, but it's the process of taking a customer, depending on where they are. We talked about, branding. They might know you, they might not know you, but depending on where they are, and converting them into a paying customer. So here's an important point. After you've done this paid advertising and they get to the website, your website should be able to take a sale. It should be able to accept money or at least get them into some sort of telephone sales or a consulting situation, your site needs to be set up to get the sales process. Now, some people might think that's e-commerce, but that's for a consultant, or for you, for Payroll Vault, you need to have a meeting. Well, that means that on your website, you need to be the website needs to be set up to push that meeting. It can't be soft. It has to be directly related to closing the sale or getting the sale.
That's so cool. And the whole, because I love business. And so this whole evolution in different ways, because pretty soon I'm going to be, I've hooked up with what's called the Mastery Network, and I'll be showing people an e-course on how to be in business. And so I'd be real interested in the conversations of when it gets to this point, because I think people are having these great ideas, but they're not setting up all the little things in place that prove to be the foundation. And the website everybody had to have a website. Well, everybody needs to have a website. Is your advertising matching up with your service?
Correct. And with your audience. So we talked about buying, and so once they get to your website, the message needs to be congruent, because now you're not trying to get just anybody. Now you're trying to get customers. It needs to be easy for them to set up a buy now button or a telephone call or a meeting, but it needs to be straightforward. It needs to be easy. Otherwise, you're going to run them off.
Nobody has time. If you don't make it in that 1 second that you've been talking about that ends up back to cavemen, then you're going to lose them.
Right.
All right, Kyle, so what you really saying is that you need a website that not only tells, but it sells.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So any wrap-up points? Any advice, tips, tricks?
Yeah, focus in on conversion, not on branding. Think about who your customer is. That idea about your customer that you just told me about, dentist, if every business owner did that and got a great idea of who their preferred buyer was, then their life would be so much easier about focusing on Facebook. So figure out who your core buyer is, and then go to Facebook and put those interests in, and all of your ads will convert more.
Right now, cheers to Mr.X and digital marketing, man. You have just blown my mind.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Hey, everybody, if you like our show, we've given you good value and information, please go to iTunes or Spotify, iHeartRadio app, or anywhere else that you get your podcast, and give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to sponsor the show, please give us a shout out. We'd love to have you. Y'all, thank you so much for listening and being here with us today. I'm Karen.
I'm Cadie. Please be sure to subscribe to Cheers to Business podcast on iTunes or anywhere else that you get your podcast. Visit our Facebook and be sure to give us a like. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, shoot us an email from the website cheerstobusiness.com.